This is The Cars by The Cars. Let's talk records. It's 1965 in Cleveland, Ohio. Ric Ocasek met Benjamin Orr when Orr was performing with his band called the Grasshoppers. They hit it off but did not meet again until some years later in Columbus, Ohio. After being in many bands together, Ocasek and Orr moved to Boston in the early 1970s to start a new group and try to make it there. While in Boston, they were in a folk band called Milkwood. They released an album called How's the Weather in 1973, but it didn't make it to the chart. It was at that time that they met Greg Hawkes, who played saxophone on the album. After they left the Milkwood, Ocasek and Orr recruited Hawkes on keyboards and started a new band called Richard and the Rabbits, a name suggested by Jonathan Richman of the Modern Lovers fame. Unfortunately, Hawkes left to tour with Martin Mull, while Ocasek and Orr continued performing as an acoustic duo. Shortly after, Ocasek and Orr joined a band called Captain Swing that included a lead guitarist named Elliot Easton. Orr was the singer and Ocasek became the rhythm guitarist. The band started garnering attention around the Boston area, but Ocasek and certain members of the band did not see eye to eye about the musical direction. After it didn't seem like a record deal was coming their way, Ocasek fired the bass player, keyboardist, and drummer and started a whole new band that would fit Ocasek and Orr's style. Orr became the bass player and Ocasek became the guitarist, and both of them would sing. They recruited drummer David Robinson, who had been in the Modern Lovers, the Pop, DMZ, and more than had style to match their style. In fact, his impeccable sense of style influenced the style of the whole band. In 1976, they became The Cars, and in early 1977, keyboardist Greg Hawkes joined the band, completing the iconic lineup. The Cars then began playing all over the New England area and recorded a 9-song demo. Songs on the demo, Just What I Needed and My Best Friend's Girl, started to get airplay on radio stations around the Boston area, and they got signed to Elektra Records. Just What I Needed was the first single, released May 29th, 1978. I'm in Touch With Your World was the B-side. Just What I Needed was written by Ocasek while he was living in a commune in Newton, Massachusetts. Ocasek gave it to Orr to sing. The opening part was inspired by the 1968 bubblegum pop hit Yummy 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 by the Ohio Express. The part that goes Wasting All My Time was taken from the song Sister Ray by one of Ocasek's favorite bands, Velvet Underground. Just What I Needed reached number 27 on the Hot 100. The Cars' self-titled debut album was released June 6, 1978 on Elektra Records. It was produced by Roy Thomas Baker, legendary producer of Queen Records. The album cover was designed by the label without the band's approval. It features Russian model Natalia Medvedeva, who was also a singer, poet, and writer. It was shot by photographer Elliot Gilbert, who had photographed album covers for Bill Withers, the Brothers Johnson, Leo Sayer, John Denver, and others. Drummer David Robinson, who would go on to design many of the band's album covers, designed an artsy collage that was intended to be the album cover, but it ended on the inner sleeve instead. The record reached number 18 on the Billboard Top LPs chart, spending 139 weeks on that chart. My Best Friend's Girl was the second single, released October 10th, 1978. The B-side was Don't You Stop. Ocasek went on to say that the song, which is about a girl leaving with the guy's best friend, is not based on personal experience. It reached number 35 on the singles chart in America. The third and final single was Good Times Roll with All Mixed Up as the B-side, released February 20th, 1979. Good Times Roll reached number 41 in the US. Although songs of the album were not released on singles, such as Bye Bye Love, Moving in Stereo, and You're All I've Got, they received heavy airplay on AOR radio stations. Moving in Stereo was famously used on the legendary pool scene with Phoebe Cates and Judge Reinhold on the 1982 cult classic movie Fast Times at Richmond High. The band Red House Painters covered their own version of All Mixed Up in 1996. The Cars' self-titled debut album has gone 6 times platinum. It has been called one of the best albums of all time. Rolling Stone magazine ranked the album number 282 on the 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list in 2003 and 284 on the 2012 updated list. It went down to number 353 on the 2020 edition. The Library of Congress added the album to the National Recording Registry in 2024. If you're a record collector like me, the Cars' self-titled debut album should definitely be a part of your record collection.